Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment in every life, a season, a storm, a valley, when life doesn't feel fair, when the sun that once shined so bright seems to hide behind clouds of confusion, when your laughter turns to silence and your strength starts to slip through your fingers. Have you ever been there? Have you ever smiled on the outside while bleeding on the inside? Have you ever said, "I'm fine," while your soul was crying for help? Oh, I came to tell somebody today, life will hurt you sometimes. It will break your plans, challenge your faith, and stretch your heart. But listen to me, just because life is hurting doesn't mean God has left you. See, the pain you feel is not proof of your defeat. It's proof that you're still alive, still in the fight, still in the process of becoming what you were destined to be. So don't you quit in the middle of your hurt. Don't you give up when the night feels long. Because even when life is hurting, healing is on the way. Can I get somebody to say, "I'm still here"? Your pain has a purpose. That's a truth most people don't want to hear when they're in the middle of their storm. When the tears won't stop, when the bills are piling up, when the people you counted on walked away, it doesn't feel like purpose. It feels like punishment. But let me tell you something. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is a messenger. It comes to awaken something in you that comfort could never reach. You see, when everything is easy, we don't grow. We don't stretch. We stay right where we are. But pain pushes us. Pain pulls us out of the shallow waters of convenience and forces us into the deep where destiny lives. There's something about pain that purifies, that clarifies, that identifies who we really are. It strips away the false strength and reveals the core of our faith. It shows us what we're made of. When life starts hurting, it's tempting to think, "Why me?" But maybe the real question is, what is this trying to teach me? Because every wound has wisdom inside it. Every disappointment carries a divine assignment. That heartbreak wasn't random. It was redirection. That loss wasn't the end. It was preparation. You were not meant to stay broken. You were meant to build from the brokenness. Think about it. Every major transformation in life is born out of pain. A seed has to break before it grows. A diamond has to endure pressure before it shines. Gold has to be refined in fire before it's pure. So why do we think we can reach destiny without discomfort? Pain is the process God uses to shape purpose. It's the refining fire that burns away everything that doesn't belong, leaving only what is strong enough to stand. You might not see it right now, but what's hurting you today could be the very thing that helps someone else tomorrow. Your testimony is being written in the middle of your test. The same valley that's breaking you will one day become the platform that elevates you. Because pain gives birth to empathy, and empathy gives you the power to heal others. When you've cried those tears and walked through that fire, you carry something inside you that can speak to someone else's darkness. So don't despise your pain. Don't rush it, and don't waste it. Learn from it. Let it mold you. Let it mature you. You might not understand it now, but one day you'll look back and realize that what felt like breaking was really building. You'll thank God not just for the blessing, but for the breaking that made the blessing possible. Your pain is not pointless. It's producing strength, endurance, and faith that you could not have gained any other way. You're not being punished, you're being prepared. And when you come out of this, you'll walk with power, with purpose, and with the understanding that every tear you cried was watering the seed of your destiny. Your pain has a purpose. Brokenness is the birthplace of breakthrough. It sounds poetic, but it's also profoundly true. Every great story, every transformation, every rise from the ashes begins with something that had to break. We like the idea of breakthrough, the success, the relief, the freedom, but we don't like the breaking that comes before it. Yet, you can't have one without the other. The breaking is what makes the breakthrough possible. When life breaks you, it feels like everything is falling apart. Your plans crumble, your heart aches, your confidence shakes. You start asking, why is this happening to me? But maybe it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. Sometimes God allows things to break, not to destroy us, but to release what's been trapped inside us. A seed cannot grow until its shell is broken. Likewise, you cannot step into the fullness of who you are meant to be until something in you gives way. Brokenness has a way of stripping away illusions. It takes off the masks, it silences the noise, and it forces you to confront your truth. When you've been broken, you stop pretending to be strong. You start learning what real strength feels like. You stop trying to control everything, and you begin to trust that something greater is still in control. That's where breakthrough begins, not in the comfort of perfection, but in the chaos of surrender. When God wants to multiply something, he breaks it first. He took the bread, blessed it, and then he broke it before feeding thousands. The breaking came before the blessing. In the same way, your brokenness might be the stage where God prepares to multiply your life. You think you've lost everything, but in reality, something greater is being released through the cracks. Your pain is creating space for his power to flow through. The truth is, broken people see the world differently. They love deeper because they know what loss feels like. They forgive easier because they understand pain. They appreciate joy because they've lived through sorrow. Brokenness builds character. It cultivates compassion. It makes you real. And in that realness, where your heart is raw and your spirit is humble, breakthrough begins to happen. So don't despise the breaking. Don't see it as a sign of failure, but as a signal of transformation. Sometimes things have to fall apart for you to finally see what was holding you back. Sometimes God breaks what you built, not to hurt you, but to rebuild you stronger, wiser, and freer than before. Your brokenness is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of a new chapter. It's the point where your weakness meets his strength, where your limits collide with his possibilities. The cracks in your life don't disqualify you. They qualify you for a breakthrough that only broken people can experience. So when life breaks you, don't give up. Look up. Because the place where you feel shattered might just be the place where God is getting ready to shine through you. Brokenness is the birthplace of breakthrough. Don't curse the process that's shaping you. We all love the idea of becoming stronger, wiser, and more successful, but we don't always love the journey that takes us there. The process is often slow, painful, and unpredictable. It tests your patience, challenges your faith, and exposes your weaknesses. But the truth is, the process is necessary. The process is where God does his best work. Every step, every struggle, every setback is shaping something inside you that comfort never could. You see, it's easy to thank God for the blessing, but can you thank him for the process? It's easy to praise him on the mountaintop, but can you still trust him in the valley? Because the valley is where your character is built. The valley is where you learn perseverance, humility, and dependence. What you go through in the dark will prepare you to handle the light. If you skip the process, you won't be ready for the promise. So many people give up too soon because they don't like the process. They want destiny without discipline, growth without stretching, promotion without preparation. But anything that lasts is developed over time. A diamond doesn't form overnight. It takes pressure and time. A tree doesn't grow tall without first growing deep roots underground where no one can see. Likewise, God is working beneath the surface of your life, shaping you in places no one can see. And while it may not make sense now, one day you'll understand why the process took so long and why it had to hurt. Sometimes the process looks like rejection. Sometimes it looks like failure. Sometimes it looks like waiting when you're ready to move. But all of it is molding you. The very things that frustrate you are forming you. That disappointment is teaching you patience. That closed door is teaching you faith. That detour is positioning you for something greater. You might not see it now, but you are being prepared for what you prayed for. Don't curse the process just because it's uncomfortable. Growth is never comfortable. The caterpillar has to be confined in the cocoon before it can fly. The clay has to be pressed and molded before it becomes a vessel of beauty. In the same way, the pressure you feel right now is not punishment, it's purpose. You are being shaped, refined, and prepared for a greater assignment. When life gets hard, instead of saying, "Why me?" start saying, "Shape me." Ask God to use the process to build you, to teach you, to strengthen you. Because when you embrace the process, you invite transformation. You stop running from what's hard and start growing through it. So don't curse the process. Don't fight it. Don't rush it. Don't resent it. Trust that every delay, every trial, every test is working together for your good. When it's all said and done, you'll look back and realize that the process didn't break you, it built you. God does his best work in dark places. That truth doesn't always feel comforting when you're standing in the middle of the darkness, wondering where the light went. But if you look closely throughout history, throughout scripture, and even throughout your own life, you'll see that some of the most powerful transformations were born in the dark. Creation itself began in darkness before there was light, before there was form, before there was understanding. God was already moving. The darkness wasn't a sign of his absence. It was the space where his work began. When life grows dark, when the answers don't come and the path isn't clear, we often assume that God has gone silent. But silence doesn't mean absence. Hidden doesn't mean forgotten. God works in silence because the best things grow unseen. Think of a seed buried deep in the soil. It looks like death. But in that hidden darkness, life is beginning to take shape. Roots are forming where no one can see them. The seed must be buried before it can bloom. And sometimes you too must be buried in obscurity before you can rise into your purpose. We want the light. We crave visibility, clarity, and control. But the light doesn't always produce growth. The dark does. The dark seasons of your life are where your faith learns to see without sight. It's where you learn to trust God, not because you understand him, but because you know he's faithful. The dark seasons teach you dependence. They strip away distractions and force you to rely on his presence, even when you can't feel it. When God formed Adam, he did it from the dust of the ground, a low place. When Jesus was resurrected, it happened in a tomb, a dark place. When Jonah was transformed, it was inside the belly of a fish, another dark place. Every example reminds us that darkness is not the end. It's the beginning of divine work. The dark is God's workshop. It's where he shapes destiny, molds character, and strengthens the spirit. You may not like the darkness you're in right now. You may feel hidden, forgotten, or stuck. But what if that hiddenness is actually protection? What if God is shielding you while he develops you? If he exposed you too soon, you wouldn't be ready to handle what's coming. The darkness is God's way of preparing you for the light that's ahead. So don't despise your dark season. Don't let fear convince you that nothing is happening. God is doing his best work where you cannot see it. The very place that feels like a tomb might actually be the womb of your next chapter. Hold on, because morning always follows midnight. The same God who works in the light is the same God who reigns in the dark, and when he's done working in the shadows, he'll bring you out shining brighter than before. Healing begins when you refuse to quit. It's easy to keep going when life is smooth, when everything is falling into place, when prayers are being answered the way you hoped. But real strength, real faith, real healing begins when you decide to keep moving even when it hurts. When everything in you says, I can't take another step. But something deeper whispers, don't stop now. That's where healing starts, in the decision not to quit. You see, pain has a way of convincing us that giving up will make it stop. But quitting doesn't end the pain, it only ends the possibility of transformation. Healing is a process, and like all processes, it takes time, it takes patience, it takes endurance. There are moments when the healing feels slower than the hurt, when the scars seem to speak louder than the promises. But every step you take, no matter how small, is proof that you are moving forward. When you refuse to quit, you give God something to work with. You give Him your faith in motion. You might be limping, you might be crawling, but as long as you're moving, you're still in the game. Healing doesn't mean the pain disappears instantly. It means you're learning how to live beyond it. You're choosing to believe that your story doesn't end in the valley. You're choosing to believe that what broke you will not define you. Refusing to quit is not about pretending you're fine. It's about acknowledging your wounds, but refusing to let them control your destiny. It's standing in the middle of your struggle and saying, "This hurts, but it will not have the final word." Every time you keep going, you're reclaiming a piece of your strength. Every time you choose to hope again, you're rewriting your future. Healing begins when you stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What now?" You can't always control what hurt you, but you can control how you respond to it. You can turn pain into purpose, wounds into wisdom, and setbacks into stepping stones. That's what refusing to quit looks like. It's choosing to believe that what's ahead of you is still greater than what's behind you. Even when you can't see progress, trust that something is happening beneath the surface. Healing is often invisible before it becomes undeniable. The body heals slowly. The heart heals silently. The spirit heals in surrender. You may not feel it every day, but your perseverance is proof that restoration is underway. So don't quit when it's hard. Don't stop when you're tired. Rest if you must. Cry if you need to, but get back up. Because every time you rise after being knocked down, you become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Your healing doesn't depend on perfection, it depends on persistence. The moment you refuse to quit is the moment your healing truly begins. When life is hurting, it's easy to believe the pain is permanent, that the storm will never pass, that the night will never end. But I came to remind you today, pain is temporary and purpose is eternal. Every tear you've cried, every battle you've fought, every valley you've walked through has not been wasted. It's all been preparing you for who you are becoming. You've learned that your pain has a purpose, that it's not there to destroy you, but to develop you. You've seen that brokenness isn't your ending, it's the birthplace of your breakthrough. You've discovered that the process, no matter how uncomfortable, is shaping you for something greater. You've realized that even in the darkest moments, God is still working, still molding, still creating beauty from ashes. And above all, you found the courage to keep going, to refuse to quit when quitting felt easier. Maybe you walked in today feeling weak, worn out, or uncertain about tomorrow. But hear me, there's still life in you. There's still purpose in you. There's still destiny waiting to be revealed through you. Don't let the hurt of this moment convince you that your story is over. The very place where you've been wounded is often the same place where you'll discover your strength. When life is hurting, hold on. Hold on to faith when you can't see the way. Hold on to hope when everything looks lost. Hold on to the truth that even in your breaking, God is building something new. You are not alone in your pain, and you are not forgotten in your process. The same God who saw you in your tears will be the one who lifts you in your triumph. So lift your head, square your shoulders, and take another step, even if it's a small one, because healing is on the way. Restoration is on the way, joy is on the way, and one day you'll look back and realize that the season that almost broke you was the same season that made you. When life is hurting, remember this: you are still here. And if you're still here, it means your story isn't finished yet. The pain is real, but so is the promise. The struggle is heavy, but so is the strength being born inside you. Don't quit. Now your breakthrough is closer than you think.